Hello, human peoples. You're listening to the podcast network of Gamefully Unemployed. To support us and gain access to great exclusive podcasts like Fox Mulder is a Maniac, Tom and Jeff Watch Batman, Star Trek The Next Futurama, and our latest show, Spiel Boys, head over to patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. We do game streaming, movie nights with our patrons every Friday night, and you can even commission your own podcast about anything you want. Literally anything, within reason, and we have to do it. You are quite frankly out of excuses not to go visit patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. That's patreon.com/GAMEFULLY unemployed, which is spelled like it sounds. Hey, Dave.
Hey, Tom.
What are you reading?
Oh, I'm reading Marshal Law.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Holy smokes, everybody. Welcome to the very first episode of Tom and Dave Read Marshal Law.
Yes.
This is a mini-series brought to you by our Patreon MindFreak555. So I assume it's Chris Angel?
Chris Angel? It's probably Chris Angel. Giving us the beginning of a fake phone number, so that seems like something Chris Angel would do.
Yeah, so thank you, MindFreak. This is Marshal Law is a comic book by Pat Mills and Kevin O'Neill.
Mm-hmm.
It's very much so far. I've only read a little of it because we're doing this in 5 parts, and we're doing what I assume to be the entire Marshal Law. Yeah, there's
been a handful of miniseries, and we're beginning with the first 6-issue limited series.
They're the collected editions.
Mm-hmm.
There's Fear and Loathing, Blood, Sweat, and Fears, Fear Asylum, Origins, the Deluxe Edition. I don't know what. I just read. We were just reading what we're gonna do in parts.
Right.
So this episode we're doing Fear and Loathing in 2 parts. Marshal Law Takes Manhattan and Kingdom of the Blind is going to be episode 3. The Hateful Dead and Super Babylon is episode 4. Secret Tribunal is episode 5. 5-part series about a comic book that I don't know if any of you read.
It's pretty obscure. I had never heard of it. Which is interesting. It's a British comic. Pat Mills. If you're a big comic head. You might recognize his name as one of the architects of 2000 AD and specifically Judge Dredd. Which
that
checks out because this character's kind of
he's a real Judge Dredd.
He's a real Judge Dredd. He's like a mix between Judge Dredd and the comedian from Watchmen. This is if you've not heard of it, the basic premise of Marshal Law is it's a lot like a lot of dystopian superhero comics that were being made in the 80s. So like Frank Miller's Dark Knight Returns, obviously Watchmen, Judge Dredd. They're dystopian deconstruction superhero comics. And Marshal Law is cut from that same cloth. It's in this apocalyptic future. It's got elements of the Boys. If you've watched The Boys or read The Boys, you'll find a lot of similarities here. It's a future society where superheroes are common and they're also public heroes. They influence public policy and government policy. But there is a method that allows everybody to have superpowers, basically, and they use superpowered people in a war, like a vague war against socialism in South America and Central America. And all those people come back from that war, all those superheroes come back from that war with, like, super PTSD.
Yeah.
And they're just kind of like, it's very much kind of like talking about the disenfranchisement of soldiers after Vietnam, but, like, what if they were all superheroes?
Yeah. What if they were all given this doctor, like, fucked them all up, and like the doctor didn't care about who he gave this stuff to, so there's a lot of people with mental health issues and superpowers that they deal with. A lot of them are victims.
Yes, a lot of them are.
They're not just like villains on the street. A lot of them are like very nice people who are being victimized. Because basically superheroes in this world is just bad. It's nobody wants them. It seems like
there's so many that the people that came home from the war are called SERPs, surplus heroes.
Yeah.
So there's no place for them. There's a very Reagan thing where like they shut down a hospital where there was like a law that got passed where like SERPs can't be treated in state hospitals, so a lot of them are just homeless now. So it's the homelessness of the mental health crisis of the 80s with superpowers thrown into that mix. And so this martial law character is a cop, basically.
He's a vigilante.
No, he's not a vigilante. But
he's commissioned by the cops. They explain that the cops basically... There's a chapter near the end of what we read. We read the first 3 issues.
The first 3 issues of the original 6-issue limited series that was that was launched in 1987.
There's a chapter at the end where the cop commissioner basically says, like, yeah, we didn't want to have cops in this area, so it was easier to just have, like, this maniac to, like, beat them all up.
Yeah, but he's specific. Like, he's not a vigilante. He's working for the government. Like, he is a policeman essentially.
Yeah.
He has a couple of cop buddies. He's got his guy in the van. This guy named Danny who's paralyzed. His tech guy, and then he has this giant dude named Kiloton, who's like his partner or something.
He's just there. He's
just there. He doesn't really do anything. He just kind of makes some funny jokes, and he's wearing a muzzle to lose weight.
Yeah, and he looks like his name is Kiloton.
Yeah,
he's gigantic.
The comic is drawn by Kevin O'Neill, who is an artist that I'm not familiar with, so you'll forgive me, comic heads. Just looking at his Wikipedia real quick, he's drawn the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, among other things, of course.
Tom, did you know there's a 1996 movie called Marshal Law, starring Jimmy Smits? And the reason I bring it up is I want to tell you the plot. And this, like, I don't think it's related to this comic. However, the plot is, in the hills not far from Los Angeles, a new, fresh, secure housing area has been built by former U.S. Marshal Jack Coleman and a friend. An escaped convict, Cougar, and a band of 10 psychopaths invade this safe area after a violent earthquake. With the aid of a pizza delivery boy, he must defend his family and his friend's wife, Lily, and declares martial law. That is oddly similar.
Yeah, no, we got to watch that movie.
Yeah, it's not the same movie, but if I had made there's no superheroes in that, but it's about thugs invading an area after an earthquake.
Yeah, this takes place in San Francisco, where a massive earthquake has literally cracked the city in two. So, like, the slums are like toppled skyscrapers that are piled on top of each other, and like a beached aircraft carrier and shit like that.
Yeah.
It's the art style is really like of its time. It's very similar to like Judge Dredd and Frank Miller's like Dark Knight Returns stuff. It's like really harsh.
Jaws, you can cut your fucking hand on.
Yeah, it's
like giant chests on both men and women for different reasons.
Yeah,
small waist, big old bulging muscles. Like the architecture is it's a little like Eon Fluxy. It's very noir. I actually like the style.
I like it. I like it too. I was trying to describe it as best I could. It's a very harsh, ugly style, but like purposefully, like intentionally ugly. It's meant to be very. I mean, you're probably have a pretty good picture of what this book looks like if you've never looked at it before. That's like the world that martial law takes place in.
Yeah. Earthquake, superheroes, everybody everybody's favorite one, Public Spirit, went to space. It sure seems like he caused the earthquake, but I don't know. Because he goes to space and he's like they say something in it about the earthquake being like caused by something that would have been in space, like a gravity thing. So that's my theory.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see as it unfolds.
It's very post The Boys, I would say. Like it's The Boys in like 10 years, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Where the superheroes have completely taken over. It's also, I forgot to mention, this is a really important point, it's a very Judeo-Christian dictatorship.
Yes.
It's all extremely Christian. All of the superheroes have these very like Public Spirit is like he's I think he literally wears crucifixes. There's a hero called Stigmata who just looks like Christ on the cross. Like the laws are built around Christian morality and shit like that. It's a fucking nightmare. Like it's a real nightmare.
It's a real nightmare. They also the powers are grotesque in general.
Yes,
because it's genetic engineering. So it's stuff like blocking pain receptors and like nothing really. The superheroes don't look good, but for the most part, some of them do.
Yeah, most of them look very unhealthy. Like it's the source of everybody's powers is genetic engineering and tampering and eugenics. The doctor is very explicitly German.
Yes,
and
not the Jürgen fun type of German.
No, the sad, not the Kraftwerk.
He's not
kind of German.
Yeah, he's not baking cakes.
No, he's the Nazi kind of German.
He's the Nazi kind of German. Yes.
The whole superhero craze got started because he like figured out some algorithm that like predicted the next million years of genetic advancements and just kind of condensed that into a very small window and made superhumans. Right.
So, should we get into the actual plot?
Yeah, do it.
So, we're only doing the first 3. Tom, you read all of them. And honestly, I kind of wish I had. I want to know something. I haven't read a comic book in a while.
Yeah.
Not for any reason. And I forgot how much I enjoy it. My judgment on this is going to probably be... I'm probably going to be nicer to this comic just because I haven't read a comic in a while. Sure. And I was like, ooh, it's like a movie that you can pause. Like, well, you can pause movies, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Where it was like a movie that I can enjoy at any speed. And so I just forgot how much of a pleasure that was. So I read the first 3. I'll probably honestly read the next 3 before we even need to record the next episode. I just want to finish it. So it's... the first 3 are squarely around one plot line, which is the Sleep Man, which is a rapist and murderer who has superpowers and like claws.
He's got these gnarly claws, and he wears that bag on his head.
And he wears a bag, and he talks. He's a real fucking edgelord. In fairness, every single character is an edgelord in this.
We'll get to that. I actually really like this character's characterization. The Sleep Man.
Yeah,
because you see this comic is told in a really interesting way. It's told. There's a couple of main characters. Yeah, and it's told a lot from their like internal monologues, from their thoughts.
Yeah,
and Sleep Man is very. He has a specific pathology where he keeps calling himself bacteria, and it's like he wants to be.
He's an edgelord.
He believes he is trash, and he wants to be destroyed.
Yes, and he has honed onto another superhero, Celeste.
Yes,
and she is I believe, girlfriend of the main Public Spirit.
Yeah,
Public Spirit is basically imagine.
He's Homelander. He's super
Homelander. Thank you. I couldn't think of the name.
He's Homelander, except way more overtly Christian.
Yes, but also so far not sinister. I mean, obviously he's sinister, but you know what I mean. Where Homelander, it's like first few episodes, you're like, fuck, like,
yeah.
We're not seeing it from that perspective yet. is more of it, where it's like you look at this guy and you're like, there's something wrong with this guy.
Yeah, you don't trust him. I think that's it's more fair to say he's Christian Superman.
Yeah. And it's like, we're something's up.
You just don't trust. The main character hates him, and Marshal Law hates Public Spirit and really believes he's up to something.
Or Joe Gilmore is his. So basically, there's Celeste is this what's his name? Fucking Sleepy Time Tea. Sleep Man is killing women exclusively dressed as Celeste.
Yeah.
Like cosplaying and whatnot.
Cosplaying and sex workers. Anyone who happens to be dressed as Celeste, he is killing them.
Yeah. And so he is the biggest concern
for this guy.
Yes. He is a real concern of the city, and that is who Marshal Law has basically been tasked with finding. Yeah, they're the most concerned about that.
He polices superheroes, so usually it's gang warfare. There's a bunch of warring gangs of superheroes in the shitty part of the city.
Right. There's that
guy Suicida.
Hitler Hernandez.
Oh yeah, Hitler Hernandez. Yeah, fucking Hitler Hernandez.
That panel of him kicking a child was
when he just he asks, where are you from, and the kid says Santa Monica, so he aims towards Santa Monica and just kicks the kid into the horizon.
Yeah, the idea of those gangs, like Hitler Hernandez, very much lives up to his namesake. He's killing anybody who isn't superpowered, basically.
Yeah.
Right.
There's one of the other guys is Judas Iscariot, and his whole thing is he just rolls on people.
Yes, that was very funny. It's just routinely rolls on people that everybody expects it.
Yeah,
that is great.
His power is he just rolls on people.
Yeah. It's funny. This comic, did you get the impression like it didn't actually start rolling for me until chapter or
the first issue is all world building. It does a lot of world building. So like at first I was kind of like, I don't know about this.
Right. I was confused. I was losing interest.
It's a little confusing at first. Yeah.
And honestly, I also think the book too introduces the world just fine. Like it introduces all the same elements.
This book, this chunk that we're reading, Fear and Loathing, was originally a 6-issue limited series, and having read all 6 issues, this series does a really good job of world building. Because what it does is it does a big exposition dump in issue 1, and then from issue 2 thereafter, it makes sure to keep referencing the world building it did earlier.
Yes.
So it's kind of like it's like
it is really it's like textbooks.
Yeah,
I was from this of how to study.
Exactly. I was about to say it's like studying for an exam, but it doesn't. But in a good way. Like it's like oh okay. Like that it does a really good job of world building because it dumps it all at once and then kind of expands on it as the issues move on, making sure to keep pinging the stuff that you already know. So you're like, oh yeah, that's right, I remember that.
And like applying it into the plot in ways that's like, oh, I see now.
Yeah.
Because after the first chapter I was a little confused, and then by the second I was like, okay, I know.
Yeah, I got everything. Yeah.
That was really cool.
It's well done. It's a tall task. Throwing people into, like, I think it took us 15 minutes to explain the world of this comic. So
yeah,
it's a tall task, but it pulls it off. It pulls it off pretty decently.
It's very good with that. It's drawn in a way where there's a lot going on the page too.
Yes.
So there's this first, the first book I really felt overwhelmed by.
Yeah.
And then, once it starts just following the plot, which is Joe Gilmore, Marshal Law. He's
honkiest looking honky, can we just say?
Oh yeah,
when you finally see his like alter ego, because you don't see him out of his costume I think until the end of the second issue, but he's just the blandest, most boring looking white dude.
Oh yeah.
I'm like 1987.
It's perfect.
Fucking 2007.
I mean, he looks like he'd be
like, yeah.
He looks like the kind of guy that you don't suspect, and then at night he wears an S&M leather suit.
Right, he looks like the type of dude who would be a secret leather fascist.
Exactly. And so, yeah, he's mild-mannered Joe Gilmore by day, martial law at night, beating up these gangs, aided by Danny and Killaton in his sewer below the city.
Mm. All their police stations are hidden. They're secret police stations.
Yeah, it's
wink.
It's Batman. It's very Batman.
It's Batman. Yeah.
And so, in the first, I think the second,
it's a
book is the So we introduced the public spirit, who is basically like, this is he's like, I would say he's more like Daredevil to Publix, like Daredevil to Superman, even though I know those are different worlds in terms of he's that low level. I guess
power
he's Batman.
Sets,
I guess he's Batman to Superman. So public spirit, everybody loves. There's this convention that's like a superhero convention.
It's a regular place. Yeah, there's this place called the Herodrome, where it's like a mall / amusement park where people can go to just like celebrate heroes and the idea of heroes. It's very The Boys.
Yeah, and like they recruit people for the genetic engineering. Like they're still doing that shit.
Yeah, they still are.
Of course they are. And so what we're getting at is that martial law suspects that the Sleep Man is actually public spirit on the side. Yeah. Because public spirit before, did we talk about him going to space? Basically, he went to space for 2 years was written in.
He went to space for 2 years. It's interstellar. He goes on a mission to the stars.
2 years, but not 2 years his time.
25 years in Earth time.
Yes, that's it.
Yeah.
2 years his time, 25. And that's when the earthquake happened. Mm-hmm. I like that premise that basically the world's guardians went away and everything went to shit and now they're back.
Yeah.
His girlfriend at the time died at sea, but she was superpowered and it's like, why the fuck would she die at sea? So it just seems suspicious.
Yeah.
And what martial law suspects is that she was pregnant, and that he killed her because he wanted to go to space, and that would have prevented him from going to space.
Yeah, a number of things. Yeah, it was specifically. Yeah. It would have. They had this rule where like nobody who was married or had children could go on the space trip because they would be gone for a quarter century, and that's not cool. So that's what martial law thinks. It's basically a murder mystery. They're trying to figure out who Sleep Man is. Martial law thinks it's public spirit. And
because Celeste is his
current fiance,
killing people.
His current fiance, yeah. And there's a bit about there where like because like Sleep Man's also a rapist, I believe.
He sure is.
Also because it's the 80s, like fucking.
I was going to say that is probably my biggest critique. Is that's the most dated part, where it's like we don't need this.
Once we get to the like, I guess let's finish up the plot real quick. But yeah, it's.
We'll finish up. It's not great if that's what you're going to say. It's not.
I was just getting the actual talking about like how we feel about the comic.
Right.
What I was going to say, there's an element of that in there because like superheroes are not sexually compatible with regular human beings. You can't.
Right.
They cannot have sex with regular human beings.
Right. Which I like that idea that the genetic engineering is like fucked them up too. So he also martial law Joe Gilmore. He has a few friends. He has like a shop that he goes to as martial law. And then he goes home and to his girlfriend, Lynn Evans, who they met because the earthquake destroyed the wall separating their apartment. She hates superheroes. She doesn't even know he's martial law. She hates martial law. She's like a college. She's like out of college.
She's in college. She's doing a thesis.
Right.
She's doing like her college project thesis on superheroes.
Right, and so she's like an activist as well, and so they martial law goes to this comic convention thing, and he uses it to. There's a Q&A with Public Spirit, and I really liked this exchange. He uses the Q&A to start asking him if he is the
murderer, the Sleep Man, yeah.
And that was a fun panel where
there's
he
a dope
holds
ass,
up.
Yeah, because he's grilling him on he's grilling him on
what he's good at. Yeah.
What are your powers? And he's rattling through all this stuff. It's like, well, I can't do that. It's like, when you have X-ray vision, no, but you can see really far. Yeah, okay. So he holds up a little card with the words written very tiny on it, where it's like, "Did you rape and murder these people?" And like it shows Public Spirit's face just being like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah,
it's a pretty sweet scene.
There's some great moments. And so basically that creates a bunch of rumors and a rift between them, and it starts making the news and such. Meanwhile, Lynn is outside protesting in a Celeste outfit. Mm-hmm. She's protesting like superheroes, the sexualization of them.
That's right. Yeah, because there's a bit, they do a little bit to explain that, because this book is largely satirical. So what she's protesting is the way that the superhero women look, because that's genetic engineering. The fact that they have giant breasts that are bigger than their heads is they are engineered that way. So it's like this weird meta comment on how comics were drawn.
Exactly. So. That is what she is. She is like criticizing the way they're drawn. It's very interesting. And then she leaves, and sure enough, the Sleep Man gets her. Mm-hmm. And it becomes basically a revenge thing, where martial law finds out that she was killed by the Sleep Man, and now it's personal. And so he fights Sleep Man, but Sleep Man gets away. He lets him live.
Yeah, Sleep Man beats the fuck out of him.
Yeah, he does. And he lets him live.
It's very clear that Sleep Man has some pretty sweet powers.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It plays even more into Public Spirit.
Thinking it's
being
Public Spirit,
Sleep Man. But it's a big PR nightmare. So what they do is the commissioner... I liked his thing about how he has a superpower too.
And
he
lying,
lies.
Yeah. I loved he gets a couple of bits throughout this 6-issue run where the scenes are told from his point of view, and he's a really interesting character to read.
He's great because he's kind of a scumbag, but also he needs to be. Is how because he's like, look, they have all these powers.
Yeah,
I can lie. Yeah, and that's all I got. I can lie to them.
He's also drawn to look like James Woods.
Yes,
which is extremely appropriate.
Yes. So he basically manipulates martial law. He says, listen, Public Spirit we're also investigating him. Don't worry. We're going to look into it. But in the meantime, he's going to donate to like the charity of like these homeless superheroes.
Yeah, it's called like the Midnight or something. It's a hospital specifically for mentally ill SERPs, mentally ill surplus heroes.
And so he basically gets martial law to agree to shake hands in public and basically make it look like they're all right, because he wants Public Spirit to give this money.
Yeah.
And that's where it ends.
That's where book 3 ends, yeah.
Ends with martial law basically just biting his tongue and being like, I'll catch you later, basically. And he's, this is like, it's the dark, it's almost like the third act moment, but not really.
Yeah, not quite.
It's like, no, it's more like the inciting incident. It feels
it's more like I don't know. It's more like Act 1. Yeah, that's the end of Act 1.
Yeah, it's more like Darkman just exploded in his lab kind of moment,
and now he's wandering out to the harbor.
Yeah, exactly.
Julie.
So those are the comic books. It's available on Kindle. It's cheap if you're interested. If you want to follow along for these episodes,
Yeah, it's the print version is going to cost you. I don't think it's actually in print right now. So if you try to buy like a hard copy of it, it's going to cost you some money. But like I got it on Comixology. It's readily available in digital formats.
I genuinely don't know what our listeners are going to, are they going to be people who haven't read it?
I don't know.
And they're going to listen to us talk about it? Are they going to read along? Does no one care? I don't know. It doesn't matter. I want to start with the fact that, I enjoyed reading this so far.
Yeah. It's interesting. It took me a while to get on board. Like that first issue is rough. Just because it's like you said, it's kind of overwhelming. It's introducing a lot in a short time.
It had good ideas in it, but yeah, it was disjointed, I would even say.
Yeah, and the satire, it's not bad. It's just because I've read all of its contemporaries. Like, I've read Dark Knight Returns, I've read Watchmen, watching The Boys. The Boys is not contemporary to this book, but you guys get what I'm saying. So it's not as like shocking and incisive as it might have been in 1987. So it felt a little edgelordy to me for a while. Yep. And there's still some edgelord elements to it, but it's a lot as the books progress, as you start to get into the actual story, I started to appreciate it more. And it's more clever than it might initially appear. Although there are some extremely dated elements.
Here's what I'd say: it's schlock. It is
schlock.
That's part of why I'm enjoying it, because it's it feels like I'm enjoying like a trashy comic.
Yeah.
A schlocky comic, and there's like that element to it, which, like I said, I haven't read comics in a while, so this is just like kind of a delight to sit and read this kind of schlocky comic. I will say there are like the bar. So basically, my bar for it is very low to start. There are elements in it that I do go, oh, that's clever. Ooh, that's a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
I like the Sleep Man, the look of the Sleep Man. I like some of the outfits are silly. I like the world building, the genetic engineering, the way that being a superhero in this is like a Cronenberg situation. It's not grotesque.
Yeah.
That's a really good element, I think. I don't mind I like the general premise of the earthquake happening while the good superheroes, the ones everybody love, are,
mm-hmm.
are gone. There's a lot of elements. The dated stuff, I mean, the character Lynn Evans, who is raped and murdered in the second
comic, scene she's in.
That super bummed me out.
Yeah.
Because I actually really liked her character in the first scene. I thought, I'm going to really enjoy this relationship. I'm going to really enjoy her addition to it. She's like got a Lois Lane thing to her. And then they fridge her immediately. And I was like, that sucks.
It becomes more of a bummer because you start to get, as this limited series goes on, we'll talk about in the next episode in more detail. You get some more flashbacks with her, and Marshal Law starts reading her thesis, and it starts getting incorporated into the story, and it's like she should have stuck the fuck around. Like, that's a real bummer. Because her perspective that you get through the flashbacks and through the thesis is like the theme of the book, pretty much.
Here's the other part: is she humanizes it.
Yeah.
Weird comparison, but the Aeon Flux cartoons, it's all these dickheads in leather flipping around and shit.
Yeah.
They have a few episodes where you meet like someone who just exists in the world,
mm-hmm.
like a college student who helps Aeon Flux in one episode. There's a few here and there, and those are always my favorite characters because I get to see someone living in the world.
You need those characters.
And just existing. Otherwise, it's like playing the Batman games, which are great, but I always love playing those games and realizing every citizen of Gotham in this game is up to something. Like, there are no civilians in those games. You know what I mean?
No, there are, but yeah, I know what you mean.
Well, in cutscenes, but when you like run around and stuff, it's just crowds of thugs everywhere. Like, you can't actually see a citizen of Gotham while you're flapping around as Batman, can you?
No, I don't remember. I may be conflating it with the Spider-Man game.
Yeah, the Spider-Man games have people in the street and they wave to you.
Yeah.
Batman doesn't have that, and it's very funny to me because it just seems like the city is just criminals and Batman. And so, like, I guess that's what I'm getting at. They come
up with a reason in both the games that the cities are evacuated, so it's like...
Right.
But
really, they just don't want you to get to beat up people as Batman. Like, they didn't want to deal with that factor. The point is that this has that vibe where it's like, man, does anybody live here? Like, why would anybody even be in this city? And so, like, having those people, which they show a little bit of other people, but like that really does help. They sort of got rid of her immediately. And that bums me out.
It's extra a bummer because not only does she humanize the story, she humanizes Joe, Marshal Law, because he's a boring character.
He is.
That's my biggest strike against this book outside of its blazing 1987 misogyny. Because every woman is hypersexual, even though it's like commenting on the hypersexuality, it's still doing it.
Yeah, if they can show a lady's nipple, they will.
You see every single female character's boobs, every single one, and it's the whole premise is built around sexual violence. It's like, come on, guys.
Right. Like, again, the sexual violence element didn't really need to be in that either.
No, you could have written another reason for. I mean, I like the idea that superheroes are sexually incompatible with regular humans. That's a pretty rich idea to draw story elements and themes from. But I didn't need that to exist so that there could be a piece of evidence linking public spirit to the crime because it's a rape. It's like too much. I'm tired of reading comics about rape, basically.
Right. The rule for me, when it comes to anything like rape or racism or anything that's a quote unquote like triggering thing, an idea that a person can read it and maybe it upsets them because of where they are in life. And I mean this in movies and books and TV. For me, the rule is you have to be really good. Mm-hmm. You have to have a reason to do it that's really, really good and really well done. It's part of what made Game of Thrones get really old for me later, when it was like, come on, guys, like you're just writing this shit in here now. And so when it's just put in as like a flavor to make it grittier, I'm like, fuck you. Like it has to matter in a way that makes sense to the plot or that is an observation. Otherwise, it's just like you're just being upsetting.
Yeah.
And so like this is one where I looked at it and I'm like, I don't really need it. I didn't need, and it's the same with Lynn dying, is like he's already hunting the Sleep Man. Like so her dying didn't make it he's going to hunt him more, I guess.
We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it in the next episode, but like the ultimate reveal, it's like it super was unnecessary.
Yeah, it feels unnecessary already. Yeah. And just have the Sleep Man start attacking her and then he fights him off and then they fight, you know? You don't have to kill that character. And again, it's not even about, obviously it is about the concept of using women's deaths to motivate the main character and how that's been done a bunch of times. But for me, it was more of a structural thing where it's like you kind of just need that character to ground us and to make this main character likable.
It's not even that he's not likable or not. He's just boring. He's a nothing character. It's like, it's just like, the word is Kip. I hate heroes, but I also hate myself because I am a hero. It's like, I got it. Like, there's an interesting idea there about how every superhero in this universe is self-loathing, and that's interesting to me. That is interesting.
Oh yeah.
But like
a lot of good stuff in this.
Yeah, but Joe himself is just such a blah. Like I don't.
Yeah.
He's just like when he took off his mask and revealed his the caucasity, like the anonymous caucasity of his face, and it's like So just another fucking brown-haired white dude. Okay. And like he just doesn't, I don't know. He's such a flat character for me.
I mean, he's the
least interesting character in the story. And he's the main character.
Yeah. It was made in the 80s, and this is what something like The Boys is going to have over this. Even though this is more like this originated the stuff, it's just that later things are going to know how to do the commentary right. This is still, it's like when you watch old TNG episodes or old original series and they have like progressive episodes that are still not because they were made so long ago. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's that where it's like, this is ahead in some ways, but it's still kind of stuck at
it's still
something written in the 80s.
Dated in a lot of ways.
Yeah. And of course it is.
It's also very glaring to me that, and this may be a British thing, I don't know. It may be like something related to their publishing laws or restrictions in the UK, but like they don't curse. Like they make up a fake future word for fucking. They say flarging, I think, or flagging.
Oh yeah, that's weird.
But they'll show us all this fucking grotesque violence and mutilated nude women's bodies at any chance they get. But heaven forbid they say fucking. They got to say flarging. It's like, what the fuck is this?
Maybe that's just British. Maybe that's just
I don't know. I mean, we do it too. America does it too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I don't know. If we want to go into overall thoughts so far, because we got to start casting some characters.
That's
too.
true. Yeah, that's true.
That was the one condition from Mind Freak, is that we need to cast the characters as we go, which of course will probably change, or we'll keep casting as we find new people or something like that. I don't know how we'll.
Yeah, overall thoughts. I mean, now that I've leveled out my critiques, I enjoyed this. Like, I'm digging the overall story. I'm enjoying. It's not like I said. It has some pretty glaring problems. But
not all of them are just dated. Some of them are just like, you could have done better.
Yeah, you could have done this better. But it's got enough interesting ideas. It's an interesting world. It was I enjoyed this comic. It's interesting to find something that I had just never heard of in this genre, which I thought I was pretty familiar with most of the major books in this specific genre of comics, like the dystopian deconstructionist superhero myth comics of the 80s.
Yeah. Tom, without looking it up, can you guess 2 of the crossovers with martial law and other comics and characters?
No.
One was Clive Barker's Pinhead.
Sure. Okay.
And the other was The Mask.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Those both make sense.
And they get picked up by Dark Horse or something, yeah.
Yeah. So that's fucking weird. I like it as schlock. I'm very low bar with this one. Mm-hmm. Just because I haven't read a comic in a while. I like the art. I like the world that it's in. It's there's something about it that's very comforting to me. And so far it's I'm aware of how incredibly problematic a lot of it is, but I'm enjoying it nonetheless.
Yeah.
So that's where I stand on it. We'll see how it goes, Yeah,
and it's like you can almost see. Like I was
pissed about Lynn.
But well, like
because it's one of those things where yes, if you're going to kill off a character, you want to make people like the character. But the problem with me is it's the principle of it more than anything.
Yeah.
And also she is the only character that seemed like a human fucking being. So.
I believe she might be the only character that is a human being.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
Oh, no, wait. He's got his friend Danny and the shopkeeper. But I think that's it. I was going to say, even reading it, I saw myself, thinking of what the series adaptation could do differently. We keep mentioning The Boys. The Boys very famously changes a lot of details from the comic series because the comic series is problematic as shit.
Right.
So the series the Amazon show does a real good job of updating and being more thoughtful and it's just better. It's much better written.
Yeah.
But this comic, I think has like I said, I'm enjoying it. It's got a lot of cool ideas in it.
Yeah.
Digging it for the most part.
Let's cast our main group.
It could fucking Chris Pratt. I don't care. It could be anyone.
As Marshal Law?
He's so boring. It could be anyone. So how would you make him cool?
Let's have some fun here.
Okay.
Does it have to be any era? Can it be actors from any era?
That I don't know. I assume yes, or else what are we doing?
Yeah. Okay.
I would assume it'd have to be contemporary people.
Wait, it has to be?
or not contemporary now. I don't know. I don't know. Like
that's what I'm saying. Can it be any era, or can we?
Give me both. Give me both. Fuck it. There's no rules.
Okay, I would say Robert Mitchum for martial law.
Okay.
He's got the Mitchum vibes. That's how you make him interesting. That's the only way. You got to make martial law interesting. Imagine you're casting it to make the character interesting.
Yeah.
What do you do, right?
Mm-hmm.
I would do Linda Hamilton for Lynn.
Okay.
Look, I don't know, man. She'd be in it for like 15 fucking minutes. Who are the other characters? The Public Spirit?
You got the Public Spirit, yeah.
Who would play the Public Spirit? Fuck. Now I got to think about this for a second. You have any ideas here?
I don't know. I want to hear both of your anytime and also modern picks, because we can't just be naming like people like fucking Robert Mitchum.
But we can.
People who have been dead for like 40 fucking years.
All right. Fuck. I'm thinking muscly. He's got white hair, but he's not an old guy, right?
He's old. He's gonna be probably.
Oh, he is old.
40.
40, white hair.
He doesn't
muscular.
Need to be muscle is whatever. Like anybody can get muscly.
All right, Tommy Lee Jones it is.
Okay. I don't know how seriously you're taking this.
I'm not taking that seriously. I'm trying to think, man.
All right.
We're casting.
Yeah, so how seriously should I take it?
As seriously as you can. Look, honestly, if I had Robert Mitchum, young Robert Mitchum, I would throw him in there. But okay, so today we need someone who's charismatic, who can make that role work, because they're so boring otherwise. It's so easy to say Carl Urban, you know? Like,
yeah, so I was gonna go somebody a little bit more.
That's so obvious.
Like Lakeith Stanfield or something, like somebody who does like interesting things.
Fuck, Lakeith would be really good.
Yeah. But yeah, because your instinct would just be to be like Carl Urban, but it's like, well, he already played Judge Dredd, so
Lakeith.
Yeah, let's go with that then. Let's say Lakeith. I know that'll be a way to make this character something. I don't know. They're so.
You could literally put anybody.
Yeah, that's the thing. You could put anyone in there.
Robert Downey Jr. in there.
If you wanted to, sure.
Anybody who's charismatic. Just get somebody who can make it charismatic.
Yeah.
I don't know. All right, so the Sleep Man, I feel like we can't, because he's obviously one of the characters. Mm-hmm. I assume. So I feel like I don't want to cast him.
Yeah, we
can know more.
We can keep Sleep Man off the table, I think, for now.
I don't think we have to cast everybody in this episode. We can cast them as we go.
Yeah, so let's hit Marshal Law, Lynn, and Public Spirit.
Yeah,
since those are the main ones.
Public Spirit, he's got Stephen Lang energy.
Stephen Lang, Stephen Lang would be good. I'm trying to think of somebody who has a wholesome image. A wholesome image that could play a little bit sinister.
Greg Kinnear.
Captain Amazing from Mystery Men.
Yeah, Greg Kinnear could a few years. He's a little too old.
Yeah.
See, I would focus on the white supremacy stuff as well. So I would keep the character white, because
that is
of the meaning.
That is very
of the character.
Important to the theme of the world, because the world is very Judeo-Christian white supremacist. Like it's built around the idea of eugenics.
Exactly. It's one of those times where it's like, yeah, you want a white dude for this, because that's the point.
Public Spirit should absolutely be white. Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck. See, I would say if I was casting I would do Paul Newman.
I mean, this is the character.
Dead.
This is the character where you want to make him Chris Pratt.
Yeah, you're right.
That would be where Chris Pratt would
be
work.
Perfect for this. Holy shit, Chris Pratt or any of the Chris's, Chris Evans, Chris Pine, any of the Chris's. That's perfect.
Yeah.
That's where you do stunt casting. It's like putting The Rock at the beginning of the other guys, where it's like you're putting him in specifically because like he is the generic white superhero guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'd say any of those.
Yeah, let's stick with that.
Yeah, let's stick with that.
I don't want to get too because I've read this whole initial series. So I don't want to get too spoilery in there, but
yeah.
All I will say is it needs to be a white dude with a wholesome image that is a little bit of a sinister bent to him.
Yeah, Chris Pratt, he's a great villain when he plays one. So like, any of those, any of the Chris's. Hot damn,
nailed it.
We did it.
I should be in casting. What about Lynn? What do we do? What about Lynn?
Linda Hamilton.
Sure.
Okay, today Lynn.
62-year-old.
Here's what sucks about Lynn is like she's gonna be dead immediately. So I would cast like someone who's just like willing to be dead immediately.
That's true.
So probably not a famous person.
Yeah.
Like I don't know.
Yeah, I legitimately don't know. It's what do we? Because I would want to cast it and rewrite the part. It's like sort of what they do with a Butcher's wife in The Boys. Because in the comic book, Butcher's wife is very much dead, and we never see her. She's just dead from the beginning. But they actually shifted that around and made her into a character. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
Or like in The Walking Dead, this is not the same example, but like in The Walking Dead comic, Shane dies immediately. But in the show, they keep him alive for a while because it's a more interesting storyline, and he actually gets built up as like a villain.
Yeah.
So in my mind, if we cast this, the role would be altered to keep Lynn around.
Okay, to keep Lynn
at least for longer, if not just not killed off. Period.
Right, and so she's playing like an outspoken human, but like probably someone who's like sort of like I almost want to go for like Natasha Lyonne, like someone who's got like a fucking attitude towards them.
Yeah.
Who has to live in this really
this bullshit world.
This shitty
fucking circus ass world. With all these muscly assholes zooming around looking like Rob Liefeld drawings.
Yeah, someone who can kind of take them down a notch, you know?
Yeah.
Or a peg rather. Like that's who I'm going with.
Sure.
I'm
good with that.
Okay. Well, we did it.
Yeah, we've done that. We 3 parts. We'll get to some of the others. Like
we got 5 episodes. We might as well stretch that out, right?
Mm-hmm.
We got some of the side people here, Hitler Hernandez.
So yeah, maybe. But like some of the other, like Kiloton, Danny, Mrs. Mallon, the shopkeep.
Are any of them CGI? Because Kiloton is gigantic.
Kiloton would probably be CGI, so you'd have to have a cool voice.
Yeah, I would say right away, John Goodman.
Sure,
Kiloton.
yeah. Make him,
like
CGI Kiloton, John Goodman, perfect.
Yeah.
And yeah, McGland.
We'll do the others.
McGland, the police chief, who is drawn to look like James Woods.
Look, I don't want to give James Woods that much work, but come on,
it's a James Woods character. Like it's
if he'll do it, then you know.
Fuck it.
Yeah. You know, he'll rant everybody on set about the libs, but you know, like he'll do it. He'd do a great job. He'd do a great job.
Yeah, he'll play that scumbag like the scumbag he is.
Exactly. Should we be writing these down? Somebody write them down. I'm not going to write it down.
I'll write them down. I made a list.
Okay, good. Yeah, I think that's a sode.
I think we've done it. I hope this was interesting for people. I know it can be a little.
I imagine this. Here's what I'd say. I think this is interesting to anybody who's actually read martial law. I think if you haven't read martial law, I don't know what you're doing here, but I hope there's something interesting about it. I know people who listen to the We Just Watched who haven't watched the movie, and for me, I'm like, personally, I'd be like, well, I don't know what the hell they're talking about, but some people like that sort of stuff. That's their kink or whatever. Mm-hmm. So they're these weird perverts who like that. So I imagine it's no different than watching or listening to or we just watched for a movie you haven't seen. We spent a lot of this explaining it. Mm-hmm. And I think we will keep doing that. Because even if you've read Martial Law, probably not for a while, right? Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm always willing to be wrong about everything.
Yeah, that's a good stance to take.
Where do you think that kid landed? I guess Santa Monica, probably.
Probably near Santa Monica.
Yeah, in the ballpark.
In the ballpark of Santa Monica.
It wasn't exact.
Yeah.
This is the type of world where you could be walking down the street and a child would slam into the ground after flying not vertically down, like diagonally into the ground, and that would just be a thing that could happen. That's just was this? You could get hit by a child.
Was this? I can't remember if it happened. This is a minor spoiler, Dave, but I can't remember if it happens in this issue or not. Is this the issue where Sleep Man grabs a kid and throws him through a wall?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
At the Hero-Drome?
Yeah, at the Hero. Yeah.
He throws him through a cardboard wall, and the kid's like, "Wee, I'm flying!" And then he smashes into a real wall.
Yeah. A lot of dead kids in this.
There's a lot of dead kids in this.
You know, we love them dead kids. Yeah. That's our big thing. Listen, Mind Freak 555. Thank you so much. We have never done a comic book thing before, and so this has been, I don't know, I found this really interesting. It's also a really good change of pace from, having to watch a movie. Like I could just sit and read this as my
sometimes I want to just
leisure.
Read things. Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you so much for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
If people are interested, we have a Patreon. Patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. There's some exclusive podcasts on there for just $5 a month. You can listen to Tom and Jeff Watch Batman, Fox Mulder's a Maniac, Star Trek The Next Futurama, and Spiel Boys, our brand new Spiel Boys. For a little extra, you can watch movies with us every Friday night. And then we have tiers that you can commission your own podcasts. So there's a lot there. There's a lot going on there. Check it out.
You could make us read some wild ass shit.
Yeah. Make us read the Bible. Please don't do that. I don't want to talk about the Bible.
No, I don't really want to do that. We also have a store. Head over to gamefullyunemployed.com where you can find a link to our Teespring store, which has all kinds of cool original artwork and designs you can get on t-shirts, stickers, mugs, posters, all kinds of stuff. So check that out.
Check it out. You'll love it.
Yeah.
You mooks. That's the song.
You jamokes.
You jamokes.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.